Yes, people. It's another Friday. It's another Red Cartel, and we are back again in the building with another lit panel here for you guys tonight. And you know what? Well, let's just call it how it is. We couldn't really start tonight's proceedings without touching on Manchester United. And for a couple of the lads around the panel, it's sweet, and it just keeps getting sweeter for us, to be completely honest with you. It felt at one point in time that they may be turning a corner, appointing somebody in the stature of Ruben Amorim. I know Tom Little had a lot of stocks invested in him before Arne Slot came to Liverpool, and there was high expectations that this guy could now, serious manager, serious credentials, he's upcoming. City had been previously linked to him, Liverpool had been linked to him, but he goes to Manchester United. You think he's going to get his way. He gets rid of some of the players that he didn't fancy, didn't think that had a future at the club. The club seemed to back him. And then at the back end of the season, he's finished 15th. But you get to a final, get to a Europa League final. You get beat by a Tottenham side that never wins anything. Tottenham get a European Cup over you. And you think, okay, they've bottomed out now. Surely they'll have a better summer. I'm right on cue as well, man like Tezza. I'm like, you're like, surely United will have a better summer, and that summer will then give them the foundations they need to kick on. He didn't have the worst start to the season. You know, that that loss, 1-0 loss to Arsenal didn't seem the worst, all things considered. Then he draws to Fulham, and you think, right, they have to now get a win under the belt. They're only playing Grimsby in the Carabao Cup. And Grimsby stepped up, man. Grimsby turns around and said, yo, hold my beer. We got something for you lot. And Grimsby done a number on you. So I had to start the show with the United stuff today. There was no getting away from it. We'll touch on the Liverpool Arsenal stuff, I am sure, as the show goes on. But I'm with Shells and with Tezza. They are our United correspondents for this evening. You guys might have to get the press because I'm sure the lads are waiting to get stuck into you lads tonight. But first and foremost, is this the bottom now for United? It can't get much worse than this, surely. Finishing 15th, losing a Europa League, knocked out of the Carabao Cup to a League Two side. Is this now the bottom out and everything's got to be up from here? And that's just me trying to put a positive spin on it for you, lads. Oh, Shell, you should still mute. You're on mute, bro. Sorry.
Tez, you go first, man. You go first.
Amorim's a funny person. He's an interesting character. He's very, very emotional. He almost speaks too much of what is on his mind. It seems that in the recent ever since he's joined, but in the recent weeks, especially post the Grimsby game, I think it was today he said, and there was a quote that Fabrizio Romano kind of put, and he was talking about, sometimes I hate my players, sometimes I love them, sometimes I feel like I want to quit, sometimes I want to be there for 20 years. It's very confusing because if that's how he's feeling, like how does he convey himself to the team, and what messages are the team receiving when your manager is so Jekyll and Hyde? 1 minute he wants to be there, 1 minute he wants to go. And it was interesting, his comments that he said after the Grimsby game, when he was saying, you know, the performances of my players spoke really loudly. But after Arsenal, he was saying that performance showed that we can go toe-to-toe or beat anyone in the league. So he's a very confusing person. Like, I don't really understand his angle. He either is part of the team, because sometimes when United don't do well, he refers to United as the team, as if he's separate from it. And it's very much so like, but you pick the team. You're the one who gives the motivation. You're the one who kind of gives the instructions with your coaching staff. So it's not the team and you. It's a we. It's a us. So I don't really understand his position right now. I think if United don't beat Burnley,
Do you think he regrets going? Do you think he's at that stage? Real talk.
Partly, yeah. I think. Yes, he does. I think he regrets joining when he had to join, because it was either you join or you don't get the opportunity. But at the same time, he's never going to be able to join a big club where they've more or less almost written off the season for you to just say, implement what you need to do, get used to a league, and then we'll give you signings in the summer, even after you lose a Europa League final. That's never going to happen for him, ever.
You've got to make good at those chances, though. Surely, once that's the circumstance, you've got to make good on it.
Yeah, and like I said on the show, like last season, I was saying he can say all this stuff about the players aren't ready and we need more training and stuff, but if your methods aren't working with these players, 90% of these players are still going to be there, and that's the case. It's only 3 new players. It's not as if you've just gone and signed 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the whole team has changed. So your methods then, I don't think have changed that much to now. It's just the team's fitter, but you're still failing. So I think you need to also take accountability. But at the same time, I do feel for him because
No,
no. I don't feel for him. Let me finish on that one. I feel sorry for him in the sense of that Ineos brought him in knowing that he only wants to play one way. So he's come with this remit to be like, this is what I'm going to do, whether it works or it doesn't. And I was thinking about it, and people say he should change. But I don't know whether he knows how to. That's the bigger issue. So I don't know where we go. Personally, I'm not a fan. Lots of people know I'm not a fan. I sussed him out tactically after like 5 games. I was like, this is not the guy. He should have been sacked. As soon as that final whistle went in Bilbao, they should have said, thank you. See you later. But now we're here. So,
Bro, I'm not going to lie, Tez, man. It's crazy my man's still in charge. Let's be real, man. Let's be so real. Do you know what I mean? What is going on at Man United? It's August. I'm still wearing t-shirts outside and we're out of the Carabao Cup. Bro, it's dark. It's seriously like my manager, this manager he talks like a fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? He's like, I don't want to be here. Sometimes I don't want to be here. That don't fulfill me with confidence as a player. My manager's having doubts about being here. Like you said earlier in the show, yeah? We finished 15th last season. We lost the Europa League final. Not just lost the Europa, we lost to Spurs. Next season comes now. He's had his pre-season and it's the same. Do you know what it is as well? One thing I'll say is, United fans, we wanted a manager that comes in with their philosophy, his own style, and he's going to stick to it. Ten Hag didn't do that. Amorim's doing that, but bro, I've never seen such a one-dimensional manager in my life. To a point where he had Mount at left wing back. He had to sub one at Mount at left wing back. Like, what, bro? Any top manager needs to be able to play a different way. Like, you have to adapt. He's got no adaptations. Pre-season, we was lining up in a 4-4-2 whilst we was defending, like every top club does. Where has that gone? Why have we gone back to this 3-5-2 every single time we're defending? It's like we're struggling in midfield. Why can't you just put another midfielder in there? Why does it have to be 3-4-3? It's just basic stuff. I get it, you have your way of playing. One adding a midfielder in there shouldn't change your dynamics and your whole structure and your philosophy of the game. We're talking about Kobe Mainoo, our brightest talent. Yeah, our club is built on foundations of youth. That's our tradition. He wants to go. Our biggest talent wants to go because he doesn't see a pathway into the first team. We just signed Obi and Heaven from Arsenal.
Isn't that quite damning though? If he's one of your brightest talents and he can't like force his way into that 11, what does that actually say about the level of his ability though right now?
No, because listen to this though. He's competing against Ruben Amorim's words. He's competing against the captain, Bruno Fernandes. So he's gonna play every single game. That doesn't make sense to me.
I'd want to go as well. I'll be real with you.
Exactly.
Bruno plays regardless. He doesn't.
But
he never gets injured. Go on.
Why is Bruno and Kobe even remotely fighting for the same spot? They're so different in terms of their profile. They're nowhere near the same. Nowhere near the same. And for me, a manager needs to find out a way to hide deficiencies of a player. Kobe Mainoo's not the greatest defensively. You go find him a partner. The fact that we have to pick between Bruno and Kobe for me is crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, for me, he's just not good enough. It's that simple.
The fact that he keeps picking the wrong one isn't much better either.
Say that again, bro.
The fact that he keeps picking the wrong one for that position isn't much better either.
Well, I mean, Ugarte. If you're referring to Ugarte to partner them, he hasn't played.
No, I mean he
Oh.
should be playing. He should be playing Maino in the pivot. I said it in the summer. There's no point in putting Fernandes in the pivot. You're asking too much of the other guy alongside him, and you don't have that available. Fernandes, especially when you watch how he plays Fernandes, he plays Fernandes like he's fucking Pirlo. That's not what he is. Fernandes needs to be up by the opposition goal, creating chances, and instead, under Amorim, it's Manuel Ugarte or Casemiro is this box to box, up and down. Fernandes will go right to the centre backs, pick it up deep, play a pass out wide. It's like he's put the players in the wrong positions. It's like he's set up the perfect roles for the team and then put the players in the wrong positions. And he's sitting there trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, it's the reason why I think he's so tactically inflexible as well is because he sees the formation and his idea as the be-all, end-all. So it's like you have to fit into what I'm asking you to do. So, for example, like if you put Maino in instead of Bruno, he's still going to ask Maino to do whatever that role needs, rather than just saying, Maino, you play in midfield how you play in midfield, or Ugarte, you play in midfield how you play in midfield. He wants those two midfielders to do what he said they have to do, which makes things even worse because then it stifles the players. And I can maybe that's what he was alluding to when he said, the performance spoke really loudly and the players kind of showed me from their performance. And there's been kind of murmurs that the players aren't really happy with how Amorim kind of conducts the tactics because, as you were saying, Tom, you've got Bruno in there who, when the game isn't going how Bruno wants it to go, he freestyles, and that's probably how he should play because that's the type of player he is. He just does things off the cuff. But the manager's restrictive.
Isn't that the problem though? I find with a lot of the younger modern managers, they have a system that they just insist on, and I think they think if they wear like 3/4 length pants and t-shirts and and they look cool, that it'll transmit into the crowd, or they're trying to vibe with the younger people or something like that.
It does dupe a lot of fans, that though, Shane.
I'm telling you, man,
a little bit of swag in the right PR.
I'm telling you, look at Arteta in press conferences. He never answers a question. He just puts out this word salad nonsense that people fall for. A lot of people buy it. But like people, we're in the same position because he, instead of I watched a clip of Alex Ferguson getting United ready for Liverpool, the game that all the ex-players have said was the biggest one to him. He'd be the weeks leading up to that. He'd be really intense. But he just watches a video and he says to them, just when it's early, it's sort of mid to late 90s, and he says, when McManaman gets the ball, I don't want a man mark, but whoever's closest to him, close him down, and that should shut them up. And then he gives one other instruction, then he says, now go out there and do your thing, right? And that's it, man. He knows the players will go out and do what they're good at, and he'll let them go express themselves. We're signing Eze now, right? And people are going, oh, Eze, we're fixed. We got Eze. But even the mainstream media have started saying Crystal Palace winger Eze is signing for Arsenal because they know that he's going to play him out of position. So I'm trying to tell Arsenal fans, we're not getting the Crystal Palace Eze who plays in the 10, goes where he wants, shoots when he wants, tries mad passes. We're getting an Arteta Eze who'll be stuck out the left and told to track back all the time. It won't be the same player. He'll still be better than what we have, but we have to be prepared for that. These managers now, they are so stringent on systems, and if you watch Arteta on the sideline, he's controlling every pass, and Schmeichel called him out on it. Play this pass, play that pass. You make this run, you make that. And the same will go for Gyökeres. Instead of when Gyökeres was at Sporting, every other player's job, they had 2 number 10s, and their job was when Gyökeres makes this run, this is the ball you play. When he pulls it wide, you put it over the top. When he does this run, you play that ball. Now it's being told, Gyökeres, you make this run, you make that run, and they'll find you in my system. He's always trying to squeeze people into his system, where he should just go, right, sorry, Odegaard, you're out. Eze's in the 10 now. He's better than you, and we'll work from there. But he won't. He'll try and squeeze it in. And we have the same Bruno problem with us, that if Odegaard can walk, he's playing. No matter how bad he's been playing for the last 2 years, he's starting every single game. And Eze knows it. So he's going to be squeezed out the left. We'll have him cutting inside. We'll then have either Lewis Skelly or Calafiori doing the side, inverting, doing the same thing. And that whole side, wait till you see on Sunday. Well, I know we'll be getting into it later, but Van Dijk will just be pinging balls over to Salah. The whole match, you'll be pinging them and you'll be eating us up. But that's the problem with these system managers. They think if you look cool and bamboozle, and it works. Sadly, it works because they get clipped up on Instagram and things like that. And they're all just one-dimensional. They're all so one-dimensional. And they could take a lesson from Slot in in-game management and things like that, but there's a stubbornness to it that it's infuriating as a fan.
The problem is, though, for Amorim at United,
like
he came in and that was all a set group of people wanted from him. Because when United had Ten Hag beforehand, and one of the biggest criticisms Ten Hag got was, we didn't bring you in to play counter-attacking Ollie football. We brought you in to play the Ajax football. So we'll get rid of you because you're not playing the system, and we'll bring in someone who we're going to tell to play their system. So now, he's now just sticking and living and dying by the system, which isn't working. And he refuses to adapt it because of what his predecessor got killed for, even though his predecessor had to adapt.
I think there's part of that. I think there's part of that he's looked at. The previous manager hasn't succeeded because first season, Ten Hag changed how we wanted to play. Then his second season, where we had no midfield, he decided to do this. I want to be the best transition team in the world, box to box, kind of the back five stay, but the front five go and attack. And then in the third season, because it was already too late, he tried to be somewhere in the middle, and everyone lost confidence. And on top of that, the players we brought in were poor and stuff. And I think Amorim's kind of in that mindset, but I think Amorim more so because I watched like an interview with a sporting fan. And
sorry. Did Ten Hag say he wanted United in his final 2 seasons to be the best transition team in the world?
When we signed Mason Mount, that was he said that.
And you basically played a 5-0-5, meaning that every transition you couldn't get the ball to the other part of your team.
Listen, like I've said before, Ten Hag's a fraud. I don't know what he was trying to do.
But they're all looking fraudulent though. Like they genuinely look. Mourinho's just got a separate ways from Fenerbahce. Ollie's just got a separate ways from Besiktas. It seems to me that the managers that leave United, they leave and it's going downhill anyway. So they probably parting ways was probably the right thing. Players that seem to leave United, the likes of Scott McTominay, the likes of, even Rashford, early days with Rashford still, so the jury's probably still out, but he seems to be happier at least. There are other players that will have left.
Anthony last season was balled out at Betis.
Yeah, he did quite well at Betis. Not for the same reasons, but even the likes of a Mason Greenwood is playing better football now. He's not part of the United setup now. He's a completely different type of player and conversation altogether. Anthony in the comments there saying Alanga. There's a whole host of young players that are upcoming that are starting now looking, thinking, you know what? Yeah, United's a massive club, but if I'm just going to rot or do the graveyard shift and it's not going to work for me, I'm better off carving my own career at another club. And I'll actually start playing better and I'll actually get the trust of a manager that knows how to utilize me. I asked the question, and I'll ask Enz and Connor this. Is this the bottom now for United? Have they bottomed out? Because
I was gonna say, I think with them they've tried everything: change owners, change CEOs, change backroom staff, change manager, change some of the players.
Sporting directors have changed.
New facility, and everything's still the exact same. They haven't
you've got a new chef in the kitchen still cooking bad chicken. All of these things are still happening.
The only thing now, I think, if they had like a proper season where they had to battle relegation, I think last season we joked around it and stuff. They were always going to stay up. I feel like that's going to be what bottom looks like. They have no excuse now. They've done everything they've said they needed to do. They've brought in a new manager and a new system like they did previous 2, 3 years, 4 years, and it's still the same complaints. No, it was the owners. Then it was this. Then it was that. Then it's the manager. But you've changed everything. And Man United still hasn't got any better than where they are.
We haven't changed everything. And
what else is left to change?
Glazers are still here. They own 80% of the club, bro.
Yeah, Yusuf just said that in the chat there.
But you're buying players, so
spending money.
Yeah, but we've always bought players.
That's not the issue. Buying players, Man United been buying players.
They're the problem why the players don't play well and the managers' tactics and stuff like that.
So what typically has happened is, prior to Ineos, under the Glazers, if United are out of a Champions League, there's been a pattern. If United don't qualify for the Champions League, Glazers go, whoops, we need to get back in the Champions League. They pump money in, and then whoever who's managing gets an influx of players. As soon as we qualify for the Champions League, we don't get money that next season to go further. So the players that need to be replaced for that time we get into the Champions League, they stay. And then what happens is then when we come to go and sell, that's why we're such a bad selling club. The right time to sell certain players has gone because we've kept them a year or two too long. And then what happens is because everything's starting to get a bit stale, we're trying to catch up from 2 previous transfer windows. And then the manager's lost the dressing room, we get a new manager in. And then the cycle starts again, and then the same happens. Ten Hag, I'll say Ten Hag, though, his signings were categorically the worst. Like, typically, we've signed decent players where the manager is trying to do something crazy and he doesn't match the players. But under Ten Hag, he categorically took the squad 5 years behind. Like, we're signing players that mid-table clubs wouldn't even, like, sign. Now we're trying to rectify that. But what we're doing is, if you look at the squad, it's not amazing, but we're not a 15th, 16th level quality on paper.
And maybe 12.
Maybe 12. But now we've got a tactically inflexible manager with decent players. Because if you ask anyone around on this panel, if you said, what's Man United's best 11? We probably all say it, and none of us are going to say wing backs. Not any. Some of us might, because you
haven't got the depth in them. You might
That's
have
what I'm
2,
saying.
but you're relying on those 2 to play 8 out of 10s every week and be fit and available every week. That just doesn't happen in the Premier League at this level with the intensity.
Literally, we're asking Patrick Dorgu to be Rafael Leao. Bro, like, I'm being dead serious, bro.
I'm saying this.
You can't be going to Grimsby with 3 centre backs. You cannot be going to Grimsby playing 3 centre backs. Like, that is just outrageous. They rested 6 players, Grimsby. He played the 3 at the back. He played. Grimsby rested 6 players as well, apparently. You know what I mean?
No way they did that.
No,
but
they
that wasn't
did.
their strongest team. Real talk. I can't say I know much about Grimsby's setup, like, but I was hearing through the grapevine that he was resting a couple players.
Top scorer was on the bench. But I will say about Grimsby, they had a way more shots on possession, way more shots on target and possession than we did against United. So, you know what I mean? People getting gassed about us. We had 2 shots on target. Grimsby scored 2.
No, I look at their team. It feels like there's a dark cloud over their team, and nothing they do is gonna make them any better. And look, I'm gonna mention some players, and I know obviously time has passed and they don't look good. And obviously, but when United bought them, they were good. Sancho was a good player. Anthony was a good player before they went to United. And it feels like you've got players there. Obviously, Rashford is his own thing at the moment. You guys will probably know more behind the scenes in terms of why, he's feeling how he is. You told us, the young lad, Mainu, was, one of the upcoming lads that's going to be doing well, but he can't even get into the team and ask him to go on loan. And it's just, I look at their team and go, you've got players, but you keep chopping and changing. And when you chop and change, it feels like you're not putting players where they need to be. It feels like just the energy around the team and the squad doesn't feel good. No one wants to play there. Academy players that are Man United supporters want to go elsewhere and can't be bothered to be around the club. It just feels like there's nothing.
There are some players that want to. The players want to play there when it's a Super Sunday against a big team. That's the big thing I'll say. Those players, because they can turn up against your Arsenals and your Cities and your Liverpools of this world, show that it's not an ability thing. It's not a case of they're just not good enough.
That's worse though, isn't it? Isn't that more damning?
They don't
of them,
care.
though, isn't it?
They don't care.
That's worse,
they can't get
That's
themselves up.
into the fans.
Yeah,
100%.
But this is where I think the club has missed the trick, because I think since Ineos has come in, just before they've come in, we've started this horrible trend of letting go talented. Since like Ten Hag has been there, of letting go talented academy graduates, because our financial situation's been poor. So we were trying to just flog as many as we can just to bolster up a bit of cash so PSR is balanced. And because of that, it's now started this kind of downward spiral to where we're actually letting go the better talented ones. So in previous years, you let go of some because you're like, they're not going to make it. But the Garnachos, the Mainos, the Rashfords, the McTominays, say what you want to say about them, but you keep all them. You don't spend 50 million on a mount. You don't spend 50 million on Ugarte. You don't go and spend whatever X amount of money on all these players who are going to come in on 3 times their wages to be only good enough to be a squad player. Because realistically, when you're building your squad, you should give the young, talented players the chance to battle the senior pros. And then the ones who are good enough make it. The ones who aren't, thank you. You go and play in a different team or a different league. But what we've done, we've just ship them out. Like I was tweeting the other day, and I was looking, and I was like, James Gardner plays for Everton week in, week out. He plays wherever they want to play him. You cannot tell me Gardner wouldn't be better than Ugarte.
I'd be much better, yeah.
Exactly. Maxi Oridali didn't even play for United hardly. He got shipped out to the Polish league or whatever. After 2 games, he's getting called up for the national team. I'm thinking, what? Alvaro Carreras. I was like, this guy didn't play this, and now he's getting calls. Alvaro starts for Real Madrid at left back, 50 million euros. Ten Hag sent him away to play Amrabat at left back. Like, these managers are just
make it make sense. Mad
things. Things that you're just like, why?
Does he make it? Does he make it to Christmas? And that seems like a big stretch and a big ask at this moment in time.
Oh no, I said by great game week 12, November the 17th.
12. Brother,
only because
Chelsea hearing it.
Only because Ineos, I don't really have faith in them to just do it.
I think if he lost to Burnley this weekend, he'd be gone. I think if he loses to Burnley, he'd be gone.
I think he'll resign if he loses. But
do you know what it is though? With the formation thing and being stubborn and stuff like that, right? Fine, you know, it's really unforgivable. And I said Arteta does it too. But what for me, it's right. You needed attackers, fine. And he went out and he bought 3 attackers. But if you were only given a certain amount of money to spend, he should have addressed the fact that he's have no legs in midfield, got a proper holding midfield, and a goalkeeper. You can't go into a season without a goalkeeper. Onana is one of the worst goalkeepers that I've ever seen. And I put a graphic up on X the other day of him and Taibbi. If anyone's old enough to remember Taibbi, I mean, there's not much difference. There's no. He is one of the worst keepers I've ever seen. And you know what makes it worse is he's arrogant about it. I don't mind a player having a bit of arrogance, but when you're making mistake after mistake after mistake, and again, I'll refer back to Arteta, he's so arrogant that you know he'll never learn, because when someone's that arrogant, you can't tell them they're wrong. But how he's gone into a season without a goalkeeper, and I'm talking about just go get Szczesny off Barcelona or something for a year. Get someone in that can come in and won't make as many mistakes.
It's equally as funny though that his backup, you know, it's equally as funny that the backup makes the same mistakes as the starter.
It's the exact same. That's what I mean. They're both terrible.
They're learning off each other. That
keeper against Arsenal for that corner, a grown man going for a cross like that is embarrassing. To just flap a hand at it like he did, it's absolutely embarrassing.
No, but it's every game. I can sit there and go,
every game.
It was embarrassing the way he went for it against Arsenal. It was embarrassing the way he went for that cross against Fulham. It was embarrassing the way he went for that cross against Grimsby.
It's inexcusable to go in without a keeper. Inexcusable. And like I said, there's 36-year-old keepers out there that you can snap up. Barcelona did it, got Szczesny out of retirement, and
they've got a steady head keeper, Tom Heaton at Burnley in 2016. He was great.
Do you know what's funny? This is what I'm saying about the letting go of the young players. So again, it's a lot of pressure because whoever now comes in and goal is going to be scrutinized, probably more so because we've had such 2 terrible keepers. But there's a young keeper called Radek Vitek, who's gone on loan to Bristol. Obviously, he's young. He's only 20. But, I mean, he's had like 3 man-of-the-match performances in the Championship already. And then 2 seasons ago, we sold Matej Kovar, and he was the keeper that Alonso had when they went unbeaten. So when you just look at things and you're like, now he's the PSV #1 and Heitinger's just signed him. And I'm like, you could have taken the risk where you just go, I'm going to put the faith in Carrington. And Carrington in the past hasn't really let you down. And just go for a year. We're just, you know, and then we'll sign a really good keeper or a good defender or a good midfielder. But we're going for that person who's just available to try and fill a gap. And then we realize that within 3 months, you know what? We've just overpaid for someone who's terrible. Like I'm always in favor of play the youth. If they're in the academy for a reason and they've been brought up through the academy and they know the club, play the youth. They're going to be dying to do whatever they can.
Whether it's Grimsby in the Carabao Cup or it's Arsenal on a big Super Sunday, they'll still put the same level of application in. I think you're right there when you say that. Lads, dead quick before we move on. Have the players down tools. Don't have to unpack it, but do you think at this point in time the players have lost faith in this Amorim leadership? Connor, I'll ask you first.
I mean, I'd be surprised if they haven't. Like, I think if anyone comes out and says, we believe in him, we believe in what he's trying to do, I think they're just doing that to be media friendly or media savvy and not get a bollocking from the system. Because like Ted said at the start, like Amorim was brought in to turn a corner. Our problem is he's trying to turn these corners in a 7.5-ton lorry. Like it's not right. It's not. And I say this every time we talk about United. It's not the United I know, right? Like, even though, like, obviously we played United the first weekend of the season and we let them play football, it seemed, but I still had no level of worry at any point leading up to the game, before the game, during the game. Whereas I grew up being terrified of playing Man United.
Any given moment, he could stick it on you.
Do you know what I mean? It's completely different. And when you said as well, have they bottomed out? I mean, no, because when you're in the top division of English football, it can always be worse. But it's worse than I think we ever thought it could be for Manchester United. I don't think any single one of us ever thought, especially growing up, that you'd ever see United finish 15th.
I prayed
for
times like
and
this,
with a manager that has a worse record after the same amount of games as Gary Neville did at Valencia.
Gary Neville, yeah. And Gary Neville's the yardstick for terrible managers. That's what you use. He's like a verb. He's like a verb for terrible managers. But another stat that I dug up, I think he's won, 7 and 28 or something like that in the league?
Yeah. 7 and 29.
29. Yeah, the season they went down, they won 7 in their first 29. The season they went down in 73, 74. So he's on relegation form, is what he's been on. It's inexcusable.
I hope to keep him then.
So, I'm hoping
that's what you say. Can it get worse? Yeah, it is that Mick McCarthy thing. It can, because it really can get worse.
I hope he does enough where he stays, but he's like, he wins games, but then he loses it. But it does not matter. Then he wins again, but then he will lose and draw.
Ten Hag had that habit as well, though, didn't he? Right, he pulled it out.
We even won back-to-back games.
No, I need.
Have you seen that kid who's going to Afro?
Bro, I was about to say
It's like, bro,
about this whole United downfall. Is he ever going to cut his hair?
He's bro, I'm here for 5 years, man. I'm
gonna put him in touch with my loctician and just tell him, "Yo, lock that real quick."
Errol, listen, I'm talking about. He's saying 5 games in a row. We can't even win 2. We can't even win 2, brother.
And he's on day 320.
Yeah,
he's gonna be on day 1 million. I'll tell you that.
I want him to do
ambitious.
I want him to do enough, just to, do you know what I mean? That he wins, and then the media's off of him. Players are like, okay, maybe. Then they'll draw, but they played well. I want that, so he stays in the job.
But it's so hard because
the thing is what I don't get about how United fans back Amorim is that we know how he's going to play, and he's said that he's
so
not
does the opposition.
Yeah, exactly. Every opposition knows it, so they can make tweaks. On top of that, we also now know we're in a conundrum that if Maino stays, which I think he will because the club won't let him go, if Bruno's fit, Bruno plays. And Amorim somehow convinced the whole squad that Bruno, as Tom was saying, is a PLO. Bruno himself is probably thinking, what is happening? 2 seasons ago, I was getting 30 goals a season. Now I'm picking up off the back 3 and getting marked out the game.
Do you reckon he's sitting there getting that Saudi bag that he got off at early this window?
Definitely. There's still time, though. They've got till the 10th of September. There's still time.
Most United fans, I thought they want him gone. Want Bruno gone.
Yeah, because we're in such a financial issue. And I think, do you know what's actually funny? I think if he sold Bruno, he would have actually had the funds to sign players to suit his system more. And he would have probably been able to get a Baleba and maybe wing backs. And maybe
I think moving forward, even if he's just got rid of him, you'd be better off and just didn't replace him. I think he's poisonous. You don't want your captain, especially when you have young players, if they misplace a pass, who's throwing his hands up and rolling his eyes and stuff like that. It's not a good look.
Very, very petulant.
I mean, on a purely base level as well, if you don't have Bruno Fernandes, it forces him to play Kobbie Mainoo, which means
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'd rather play Kobbie Mainoo. I'd rather play Kobbie Mainoo than him. You know what I mean? I just think Bruno. The positives don't even come close to outweighing the negatives of having him in the team. I think he has to be surrounded by really good players. I think he's that type of player. He needs to be surrounded by really good players to play well. I just don't like him as a captain.
I can tell that the chat are enjoying the downfall of United. We've got over 150 people in the building, to make sure you are dropping a like and a share on the stream. But we will move over to Sunday's game, because look, you know, as much as we can sit and joke about United have still got a job to do. They play it's Burnley this weekend. They're hoping to get the first 3 points on the board as well, so we'll keep eyes on that. But the big one, and this is where it gets a little bit tasty. I've got Shane, I've got Connor, big Arsenal fans. I've got my like ends, and I've got Tom Little in the building to talk to me all things Liverpool, Arsenal at Anfield, Super Sunday. Lads, easy question. Is Arteta coming to play to win, or is he coming to play to park the bus? I'll throw that out first.
Go on,
with no Saka or Odegaard. Do you think he's coming?
Odegaard will be fit. Odegaard will be fit.
Okay.
He's playing Odegaard. I know he will. If he can walk, he's playing. He'll be injected up.
Steroid injections and everything.
No, he was getting injected all last season, apparently, before games in his ankle. So
the attack is going to be what? Madueke, Gyökeres,
Martinelli will definitely start.
I don't know whether you can go with Martinelli and Madueke.
Oh, he will to track back.
100% chaos.
100% he'll play him to track back.
That front three.
I mean, no offense to Arsenal here. That is the least terrifying front three we've played all season.
But no, look, did that? I obviously I don't know, but Martinelli for me is the one guarantee, one of the guarantees, literally for how much work he'll do going back. He trusts him going back. I don't think Eze's starting, even if
and he typically plays well against Liverpool as well. I think it's fair to say, Shane.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, whether he could just tear up on that for that game.
I think it's because he's had Trent. I think he just had the better of Trent, if I'm being honest with you.
And there's maybe that as well.
You know what I mean? But I think Martinelli definitely starts. I think if Odegaard can walk, he's in. And I saw, like, you know, with Arteta's smirky face today in the press conference, and they're asking, we'll see tomorrow. He's playing. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play Odegaard. And you know what? Even if Odegaard's out, I don't think Eze's going to start. I did a vote on my show last night, and about 67% thought he wouldn't start. I just don't think he'd risk him defensively. I'm not saying Eze won't work hard, but he has that regimented 2 banks of 4 that everybody falls into and we lose the ball. And Marino or someone will come in for the set piece threat, and because he's used to doing it. But Arteta won't go down to win. I'm more interested in seeing his in-game management and how he lines up. Because if he goes really defensive from the start and the same old stuff playing for the draw, then I know, right, he hasn't learned. And because you know my stance on him, I have more faith that I'll wake up with a full head of hair tomorrow than I do in this manager. You know where I stand with him. And I'm more looking at him now to see if he's learned. I don't think he has the capacity to learn. I think he's too arrogant. But we will go down to draw. And funny enough, I think we're going to get a draw. That's how I kind of surprised myself, because before when the summer was coming to an end, I had the first 3 games I had us drawn with United, beating Leeds and losing to Liverpool. And now I'm thinking, I'm not getting blown away by everybody else getting carried away. We beat Leeds 5-0. Let's have it right. We had 2 shots on target in the first half, and then they got tired and we swamped them. 3 of the goals were set pieces. You know what I mean? We had 2 shots on target against United. I'm not getting carried away at all. It's still this manager. I don't see Eze. I only see Eze coming off the bench.
Yet to concede the goal, though. You are yet to concede the goal.
Again, it's United and it's Leeds. You know what I mean? Like, we have to sort of remember where we are. We do have a good defense. I'm not saying we don't have a good defense. Calafiori, if he starts, which I think he will, and he's wandering all over the place, like I said, Van Dijk is going to keep pinging diagonal balls over to Salah, and then Zubamendi's going to get his first real test, because he hasn't been pressed yet when he receives the ball off Raya. He has not been pressed yet, and my big fear is him getting pressed. I saw him against United in the Europa League last season. He got dog walked by Casemiro of all people. Yeah. A second that Raya rolls the ball out to him, you can be sure that Slot is telling his players, you swamp him. The second he gets the ball, you swamp him. There's a mistake in him. And I worry for that. But set pieces, I think Liverpool will be worried. But I have it down as a 2-2 draw. But
I think it's going to be a big game for Zubamendi and Florian Wirtz, to be honest with you. I think it'll be interesting.
Wirtz needs to step.
How both of those players get on. It ends. What's your kind of take at this moment in time? I know we're only 3 games into the season, but do you think that Arsenal look better than what they did last season already, or do you think they can shape up better in terms of how they approach this game?
No, I think both teams are going to have to just test each other out. It's too early to kind of figure out who's at, what position they're at in terms of fitness levels, tactical, the chemistry with the new players and stuff. I think they're better off because their team's been together a bit longer and they've just added what they've kind of needed. And I think with us, we've changed more to the 11, new left back, new right back, new 10, new striker. So we've done a lot more changes from a starting position than what Arsenal. So they've got more of a settled team. But look, it's Anfield, and I think will Arteta come and try and attack? I think he will try. But at the same time, I think he'll think as well, exactly what you were saying. He'll think, get the draw and then take it, and then we'll see them back at our ground later on in the year, if not next year when the game is. But I still feel attacking-wise, we've scored loads of goals, but it's just our our transitional defending. For me, that's the worry. It's not the back line. I know a lot of players are getting a lot of. Yeah, I think a lot of players are getting criticism, which is right. Like players, if you're not playing well, you get your critiques. But I think as a system, we're not. It doesn't feel like it's there yet. But I get it because I want us to be at a good position because I want to retain the title. But I have to understand as well the team is changing and they're getting used to each other, so things are not going to click as well as it should. But I feel like we've got some players in the team now where Arsenal come in, they don't know what an Ekitike is like, for an example, don't know what like a Florian Wirtz is like as a player in there. So it's kind of that unpredictability with those guys. They're always going to be worried about what Mo can do. And I think Gakpo could, really have a good game. And our young starlet on the bench, I love him so much. I think he can come on and cook anyone now. That's how much I rate him. I think he's good enough on the ball. And with Arsenal, I don't know. They defend so well, done. They defend deep. I think with us, we need to make sure they don't get a silly set piece goal early on. I think if we can hold them and nullify the set pieces, then it becomes a shootout. It's like, you got your new number 9. Let us, or number 14 he is. Let us see what you guys can do. None of this set piece stuff. Play us. But Liverpool, it all depends on the narrative of the game. Will the referee let it flow? Or will he like to give a little set piece to let Arsenal take a few corners and stuff like that? But I feel like we have enough to win the game. It's just on the bench we're a bit light. So if we need something, apart from the young starlet, do we trust the other guys to come on and really change anything? Where I think with Arsenal's bench, if they're struggling, they've got a few players there now where you think, okay, even if he comes on and you don't rate him, he's still got enough in the locker to try and do something. Like an Eze if he doesn't start.
Yeah,
no, I heard is Szoboszlai right back again for the game?
I hope not. We need his energy in it. I think we need his energy in the midfield.
Because I think there's a world where if Bradley is fully fit, Wirtz doesn't start.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think going into Arsenal with Rice, with Zubimendi, with Odegaard, or we know Arteta, he might even throw Marino in there as well. And Arsenal will defend well and they'll press well and they'll sit deep off the ball. And Szoboszlai was probably one of your best players, even though he played right back. The manager, the manager's mentioned Gravenberch every 2 minutes, so he loves him.
He's definitely playing.
McAllister, if
he's
McAllister
pivotal.
Play, Jones was one of your best players as well, so I feel like it might.
I don't know how quick McAllister is though.
I think Jones might keep his place though. That's my thing. I think he goes Gravenberch.
I think Jones is better away from home. Jones is better when you need to quiet an atmosphere. We need to keep the crowd going.
Slow the game down a little bit.
Jones kills crowds, which is very good at points. Not at Anfield, especially not against Arsenal. I think that it'll be Bradley at right back with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and Wirtz. And then if it comes down to it and he has to make a change, Szoboszlai goes to right back and he'll bring on McAllister. And then he'll... Because I don't think you can drop Wirtz. I think that if you're going to beat Arsenal, it's going to be to do with how you maximise the limited chances you're going to get. He's a world-class
He'll want to hit them early as well, won't he? He'll want to hit Arsenal early.
He's a world-class creator, so
I think stylistically
it suits him. I don't have him on the pitch.
But I think stylistically that matchup against that Newcastle the other day, it was way too intense, way too physical. Yeah. He just looked shell-shocked and didn't want to get crunched. Where Arsenal...
Errol, that can happen to anyone.
Nah, but...
Yeah, no, 100%.
I look at it different, though. I think it was our fault we didn't use him enough. Because I think he was showing for the ball in between the lines. But our players I feel like where we haven't done that, Szoboszlai wasn't sort of the in between the lines and the tight spaces type of 10 we had last season. So we never played. We go wide and go in and then try and go for shots on goal and through balls. But he was showing in those pockets. But what was happening was our players were going, I don't really, if we lose it there's 5 pressing us. But I'm like, no, just trust him in there, fizz it into him. Let him be used to turning and carrying it. Because if we did, it would have been him, Gakpo, Salah, Ekitike against their back 4, but we kept time and time again keep missing it out. So then when we did trust him to get it, we're giving it to him in the wrong moments. It's not an excuse. He obviously needs to be better and he needs to turn up a lot more than what he has. But I feel like the way he plays, we haven't got used to the type of player that he's showing and asking and going, I don't need to be shouting my hand up. I don't need to come to your feet and go,
see me in the pocket.
Newcastle was never going to be that game, though, because every time he'd get on the ball and lose it, the crowd would be on him. I think that in reality, obviously we didn't have a right back fit, but I think if there was going to be a game he didn't start, it would have been that Newcastle one. Because you need guys in there that are going to battle, and you need guys in there that are going to slow the game down. That's why I thought Curtis Jones done so well, because he's done both of those things.
That's why I'm thinking whether, because he will want to go and match up Arsenal's physicality, Vert off the bench later on when the game is a bit more stretched, he gets more space.
Gotta play him.
Because Szoboszlai is going to play. That's his.
Yeah, he has to play.
He's the engine. Gravenberch is the one who.
Yeah, but I don't worry about his physicality though against Zubimendi, because Zubimendi's not someone who, from what I've seen,
not so much his physicality.
Is going to be this guy who's going to just barge him off the ball and bully him like that.
If it was
Thomas Partey, stylistically it suits him. I think this game stylistically suits him. Arsenal are going to want to have the ball. They're going to want to play a little bit of football. But as I say, if we press the likes of Zubimendi high up the pitch and we can nick it, he's a lot closer to goal with a defensive line that aren't going to be mad to press into him. They're going to want to hold that line a little bit. And I just think that gives him an extra second or two to pop his head up and just play those 1-2s, those intricate passes. And again, I think I don't know why I'm looking forward to the Champions League. I think it's more of a Champions League type setup because both teams are going to want to play football. The ball was only in the pitch and in play for 40 minutes across the course of 90 against Newcastle. That's not footy to the likes of a Florian Wirtz. So I think personally he should have a better game or be given the foundations to have a better game. But I think he has got to do a lot more. I think Zubimendi point is going to be interesting as well. Connor, you're being quiet. Are your lads going to be as quiet on Sunday or what? Are you going to turn up to Altony, lad?
No, right. So obviously I respect and appreciate everyone's views, but I can't continually have this much negativity against my team. So I need to be the carrot. Right. I need to be the opposite end of the stick. Yeah. I'm always optimistic because I know that we can go out and beat anyone because we have done, right? And I know we can go out and put in a performance. I'm also optimistic because
how old was you again when you last won? How old was you again when you last won at Anfield?
We're not talking about that, right?
No, but I'm just asking because we was doing the maths before and I forgot what number it was. How old was you?
What was I? 22.
And remind the chat how old you are now.
But look at me, man. It was only like 5 years ago, man, brother.
I'm sorry. No, go on, carry on.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it in general. I'm looking forward to it because I live in Liverpool as well, and that's one of the best things actually I found about being an Arsenal fan up here is it's banter. I'm never you don't get. I'm not gonna go. I can't go out in my Arsenal shirt because there's gonna be trouble. No, it's banter. It's actually a lot more enjoyable, and it's at Anfield, so I'm gonna dip over to the stadium and see some people. But I think I'm looking forward to because so far these first 2 games of the season as well, your defense looks tired from my perspective. Konate looks tired or like he don't want to be there. Van Dijk looks tired. Frimpong's out, so I'm like, cool, nice. Kerkez, yeah. You need to play Robbo because right now Kerkez looks like a fraud. He's not showing what he showed at Bournemouth last year.
I think Robertson will start.
He needs to start showing it because right now he ain't that. What was it? Enz, did you say about obviously finding out more about the kind of player that Wirtz is? I'm waiting to see the kind of player that Wirtz is because he's not so far been the player that he was that you bought. Right, and he needs to start because you're not spending that much money on a player for him not to start. That's why I think for us as well, I think Eze is going to start. I hope he's going to start from a personal standpoint, but I think he's going to start because you can't sign a player like that with the backstory that he's got, make a big thing about it in the announcement, and then not play him against Liverpool. It's going to be ridiculous. And I'm hoping he don't, right? Because everyone thought that Gyökeres was going to be on the bench against United because Havertz would play. But he played Gyökeres. So I'm like, maybe he's grown a pair and he's going to do it. Put him on the left. There's the argument of him being a 10. Only since last year when Palace started playing 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, did they then put Eze in that in-between left wing and 10 role? He's played down the left his entire career. The same way that Henry used to drift in from the left, same way Ronaldinho used to play on the left, same way Salah plays from the right. So he can play it, it's fine. It's not going to be...
Yeah, but the difference is Arteta likes his wingers wide. Eze likes to roll and come inside. Saka's different because Saka will start on the touchline and beat couple man and end up in the box.
In the box, yeah. What was I going to say then? In terms of the forwards then, you've got 2 new forwards, Gyökeres, Ekitike.
Mm-hmm.
there's not. I wouldn't say there's any pressure on either of them. I think they've both had a good start to their respective careers. Is it important that the strikers get the service, and what type of service? Is Gyökeres looking for set pieces getting whipped into the box and being the end product, and is Ekitike looking to kind of just be the final pass and just find himself that little bit of space and find a yard of space in the box for Liverpool potentially? Who do you think is better suited for this type of game?
I think he'll be Ekitike, to be fair.
Okay.
I think because he doesn't, the way I look at him as a player, as a footballer, he's really, really good. Really, really good. Obviously you need your team around you to create opportunities for him. And what we saw in the Newcastle game, he got one shot, one chance in the game and he buried it. That's what we saw in that game. We didn't create much for him and he still took his opportunity. I think with him, he can make things happen. If you looking back at the Bournemouth game, where he just picked it up in tight area and just skipped past, he tried to nutmeg the players. He said he tried to, and then he bounced back through, got a bit of luck and finished it. Even against Palace as well, just receiving it in a tight area, getting a little shift and then burying it again. I think it doesn't matter who comes up against this guy. I think he's got that right bit of arrogance about him, a right bit of like, come on, I need to go and prove myself, but he's doing it in the right way. Newcastle were trying to push him around, big centre halves, and he was just like, whatever, like, who cares? You guys do it. And he was just laughing at them. And I think Arsenal players might try that as well, but then realize how quick he is, how strong he is, and how nimble and how skillful he is as well. And they can find that. I think with Gyökeres, he's going to look to run him behind. That's his strength. He likes to run him behind. He's not really tussling. We've seen him.
Liverpool will give him that space as well. This will probably be. Giles, I was going to say to you then. Yeah, this is probably the first game this season where he will actually get that space to expose himself.
Yeah, but he's up against the worst centre-backs for it, though. It provided Konate decides to actually think that he wants to play for Liverpool for the game.
I think he's going to switch Van Dijk and Konate's side. I think he's going to put Van Dijk.
He never does that.
Van Dijk will say no in the changing room. Man.
I've got like it's a theory, not a theory. It's probably an unpopular opinion, right? For a game like this, obviously we're looking what can Gyökeres do, what can Ekitike do. I actually don't think it's vitally important for the image of either of them, because there's been obviously the big argument about Gyökeres and how many goals he scored against the top teams in the league, etc. You're not supposed to score against those teams because those teams are supposed to have the best defenses. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you've got a player that's, I only get like one goal in 5 games against the top 4 teams, but then they bag a goal a game against the bottom 14, they're still getting you goals.
But you didn't buy him for that, though. No,
of course. But he's going up against the other best centre-back pairing in the league. So if he doesn't score, it's not a big deal.
It is.
Do you know? It's not like a drastic.
If he doesn't play well, it is.
Yeah,
if he plays well and he doesn't get a goal, then you can sort of excuse it. But like, if I'm getting that Man United performance at Anfield, then there has to be a sort of thing of right.
That's true.
No, that's a fair point. But if Ekitike don't score against us, he's gone up against Gabriel and Saliba.
He'll play well anyway.
Yeah, but it depends on the game.
He's shown more. Ekitike has shown more. He's shown more than Gyökeres has. Gyökeres, look, I love Gyökeres. I wanted him. That was the striker I wanted. I just feel for him because, like I said, at Sporting, the whole team was built around finding his runs, where he's now being told what runs to make. He'll still get goals. He is a goal scorer. I like the way he missed that sitter against Leeds. When he got the next chance, he said, I don't care, I'm gonna hit it again. He didn't go in on himself, which all good strikers should do that. Yeah. You know, it didn't faze him, and I like that about him, and I like that he took the penalty, and all of that stuff is all good stuff. But you know, he will just be used as a battering ram in this game, which isn't his game. Like he needs to be fed into the channels. He needs players that play him through, take one touch and play him. And Odegaard takes about 4 touches. The amount of times he's made runs and gone offside, he's going to get really frustrated over time because he keeps making runs, and Rice and Odegaard are taking too many touches. Maybe they'll get used to it over time. And he's making these runs and he's not being found, you know, and I can see him getting frustrated. But he'll get goals through the season. Don't get me wrong. He will get goals. I just think that Arteta needs to get down a bit off his high horse and change the tactics to suit him, because you should always change. Your tactics should have a way of bringing in. You build your tactics around getting the best out of you. Goals are what the game's all about. You know what I mean? But we'll see. It's a big game for him. As in, and I agree with the rest of the panel that I just want to see a good performance from him. I don't care if he misses a couple of chances. Once he's in and around and getting chances and hitting shots when other players wouldn't and things like that. That's what I'm looking for more. This game for me, of course, the result is massive, but I want to see something different. I want to see that we're laying down a marker saying, right, we're not going to be, because this top 6 record thing does my head in. I mean, the Arsenal fans always saying we're unbeaten against the top 6, but if it was an actual top 6 league, I think we're 3rd. You know what I mean? Because we've drawn so many, but they just say unbeaten to dress it up. But like, we haven't won at Anfield since 2012 in the league. You know what I mean? So we've drawn there a lot, but we haven't won there. So that's the full head of hair.
You started the full.
I had a full head of hair, man.
Full head of hair back then days. Shells, I wanted to ask you real quick. So look, you can't win a league title in September. You know, we're not even in September. You can't win a league title in August. So. But considering where Arsenal fell short of really pushing Liverpool last season, from a mentality perspective, a win would do them wonders, because they probably feel like actually winning at Anfield after so many years, this is great. But equally, a loss could be equally as damaging, because they probably think, oh, this isn't Liverpool at full tilt yet, and we still can't get the W over them. Where do you think this game's going to be won and lost, lad?
Yeah, I think what we touched on earlier in terms of what Konate turns up, I think he's been horrific at the start of the season, man. I looked at him against Newcastle, was up against Gordon. Gordon gave him a runaround. He's lucky he got sent off, if I'm honest with you. He got the yellow card. I think if Gyökeres gets some joy in the channels against Konate, then it could be difficult. But one thing I will say is that I agree with your point earlier in terms of, I forgot your name in the middle, my bro. Apologies. If Liverpool contain the set pieces, I think Arsenal is a once they get that set piece, it sets them up for the rest of the game. So you have to control the set piece. I think that's the biggest point of the game. If Liverpool are able to control the set pieces and then the Anfield crowd gets going, it can get long for Arsenal, innit? I think that's the crucial part, the set piece problem, and then also the midfield, whether Zubimendi can have an influence on the game. I saw him at Old Trafford twice now. He had a good game against Leeds, but against the first game at Old Trafford this season, I thought he wasn't great at all, if I'm honest with you. And I saw him against Bilbao, and when we played in the Europa League, he wasn't great either. Yeah, so it's gonna be. I think that's where it's gonna be won and lost. The midfield battle, and then also I'm looking at Gyökeres and Konate. But I also want to touch on Ekitike as well, because he was my first choice striker. I wanted him at United.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, I wanted him at
United. Had you seen much of him from Frankfurt, though?
Okay. I saw the type of profile he was. When you're 6 foot, you're that, and he reminds me of a winger. When you're a winger in a striker's profile, it's perfect for me. Do you know what I mean? He's a total footballer. And I'm not surprised by the impact he's done already, because he's just a good footballer. You get good footballer around other good footballers, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I want to see how he goes up against Saliba and Gabriel. Obviously, they've been the best pairing in the league for the last 2 or something seasons. So that will be interesting as well. But yeah, I think definitely midfield battle, and then the set pieces, and then the Gyökeres versus Konate. That will be very, very interesting.
Konate should handle Gyökeres. I know the start of the season's been awful from him because he wants to go to Madrid by all accounts. But last year, he was mega. And he thrived against these strikers that want to make these channel runs because he's just quicker and stronger than them. Mm-hmm. So just on what he was last year, these are the kind of strikes he's crap against the dead small ones. Like Jesus causes Konate a world of problems, but a Gyökeres who just wants to run channel constantly, that's his bread and butter. So if I can just get that Konate back for one game before we get Mark Gay, it's fine by me. Just use it in this one.
But I think that's the thing with him. I think he needs that. I think he needs a competition next. Knowing somebody can come and take his place. I think that's what fuels him to want to be a little bit better.
I think though for Sunday, the one that I'm interested in is the right-hand side for us, because I think we've massively underutilized the right-hand side this year because we've got so many players who want to go to the left. Verts wants to sit on the left. Ekitike likes to drift to the left. So for large parts of games, Mo Salah's been isolated. I think with Bradley returning and the fact that I think he's better on the ball than Frimpong, with Gravenberch partnering Szoboszlai or McAllister, it works either way. Gravenberch has a little bit more license then to drift out to the right. We're actually going to start putting some people around Mo Salah for him to work off of. And I think that the one that I'd be most interested in is if we can tell Ekitike to sit to the right a little bit more this game. Have Gakpo go left.
Actually, on the that's his game. I was going to say
he wants to go left, but I think that he needs to go on the right for this game, because when we're looking at the centre backs, Arsenal centre backs have no problem when the ball's being played in the box. So I want to cause them a different problem and have my striker dropping in to the space next to Florian Wirtz, creating the space, because that's where a Salah or a Bradley will leg it into that space and will get in behind that Arsenal defence. Because if you're playing Calafiori, he's got lovely hair, but I don't think he's a great defender.
No, he's not. Lewis Skelly's not either, though, you see. Lewis Skelly's not either. Like, Lewis Skelly will get caught.
If I'm looking at that defence, I think Jurrien Timber's a very good right back, but I think Gakpo's got a height advantage on him, which we might try and exploit. Centre back wise, can't really complain about that. But I don't think I think the way to get them is by making one of them jump out. Left back is the area where I'm looking at it going, yeah.
You see, I think if we were fully fit, I think Ben White would have started right back and Timber at left back.
That's what
you know what I mean. He used to do that with Tommy Yasu, but Ben White is fairly crocked for by all accounts, considering he played for 3 months when he needed knee surgery. I'm not surprised. I don't think he's ever going to be right. But the thing with Liverpool's defense is that, you know, I wouldn't be overly worried if I was a Liverpool fan. I was on there with you the other week, and I said that I think Liverpool this season are going to be like the Newcastle of the mid-90s. I think they're just going to try and blow teams out of the water in the first half. And if you look at the first 2 games that they played, there was some Liverpool fans, a couple of my mates, saying, "Oh, what are we doing pushing forward when we're 2-0 up against Bournemouth?" And then they scored. But if Liverpool scored a third like they were trying, Bournemouth just shut up shop there. You know what I mean? The same goes for Newcastle. If Liverpool get the third against Newcastle when they're pushing forward, Newcastle just go, right, 10 men, we're just going damage control now. So I think more often than not this season, Liverpool will get that third and the fourth before half time, and the other team will just shut up shop. I think they're going to blow teams out of the water very often, you know, and it just hasn't sort of taken this season. If Newcastle hadn't scored that goal and Liverpool get the third that they're looking for, there's no way that Newcastle keep coming at them. They just go, right, we could lose 5 or 6 here. We're going to lock up. And the same goes for Bournemouth. So the thing is with the Liverpool defence, well, as good as they are at defenders when they had, you know, Robertson and they had, you know, Kanate and Van Dijk and stuff like that, last season, they weren't really clean sheet merchants. There was a lot of games just went 1-0 down in and then woke up and came back. You know, so this isn't new that they're letting in goals. They've had periods where they let in goals. I think that will get tightened up, but I just think most of the time you will be 3-0 up and the other team will just lock up. Not in this game now. You aren't scoring 3 against us, but you know, in general, I think against.
I get what you're saying, but last season we had the most clean sheets out of any team.
Well, no. Arsenal had the most clean sheets.
No, you had 13. We had 14. We just didn't win the Golden Glove because Keller had to play other games.
Okay, I didn't know that. Fair enough.
So we had 14 clean sheets, but I think it was split like 10 and 4 because Keller had to play like 11, 12 games in the season due to Alisson always having hamstring problems. So our problem was our defense got a bad rep in the second half of the season because we didn't really care. But like we didn't concede in our first 6 games. Or we conceded 1 goal in our first 6 games. Like when we were on it last year, we were on it. I think that the problem that we got at the minute,
I find it hard how we've not been able to rediscover that level of form because it's been quite a big, significant drop.
I think the fullbacks are a big thing in that. I think at the start of the season, the Rat actually tried, and the left Robertson and Simicast. The serviceable. You can get by with one letting you down if the other one's stepping up like that. So now we've got Bradley. I think Bradley's better than Trent defensively. And I think that a large part of why we sort of tailed off the back end of last season was because someone's head was in Madrid. So if I've got Bradley at right back, I'm a lot more confident. Kerkez is someone who I think is just struggling to settle into his role because he's not got the tactical intelligence yet. We're asking a lot of him. He needs to, when our midfielders aren't ready, stay back and be this third centre back. And then once one of them drops in, Kerkez then needs to bomb on and be this left back that he is. The problem is he doesn't quite understand when he's got to do that yet. So there's times where he's staying back when we could really do with him getting forwards to support Gakpo. And there's times when he's going forwards and we're sitting there going, well, you were the passing option. Yeah. We've now got to recycle it all the way back and lose a potential attacking opportunity. He's only going to figure that out if he plays enough. If he keeps playing in the role, he'll figure that out. But I think for now, that's probably the one where I'm looking at it with a little bit, maybe you can get him there because he's so confused out what he's going to do, attacking and defensively, that he's leaving. That something that I have been annoyed with is he leaves the inside channel too much. Too many times he's staying so far wide defensively that someone can just run in between him and Van Dijk, and Van Dijk sitting there going, I don't want to go out and close in because then I'm leaving a gap here and the defense gets dragged too far. So I hear the point of Robertson. Robertson's barely played this season now, so I don't think this is the game to go for it in terms of starting him. So
do you know what it can be sometimes when a player makes a step up to one of the best teams in the league or the best team in the league or whatever way you want to look at it. It happens with defenders and goalkeepers. When you're in a team where you're defending more often than not, they're more switched on. There's a difference between when you're not as defending as much as you used to. You can switch off defensively. Goalkeepers, the difference between a top goalkeeper and a sort of average goalkeeper. You know, you always look at it. Yeah, the most saves in the Premier League last season. It's always from a keeper that went down. You know what I mean? They let in a ton, but they had the most saves to make because they were getting pounded. What makes a top keeper is when they can go an hour without doing anything and then pull off a world-class save with the first shot that's taken on them. And that can happen with defenders. Sometimes they have to get used to being the team that has more of the ball going forward and learn to switch on when the other team attacks, because they're at their old team, they were just defending most of the time and they were used to it. So a lot of the time, it's just a matter of getting used to being with a top team. So with Kirkes, it will come. He's still only 19, isn't he? I mean, he's still a kid.
Yeah, he's still young.
So
yeah,
he's still
he'll get there. I've got no worries about long term. It's just in the short term. That's probably for years. It's been teams targeting our right hand side defensively. I think for the immediate future, it's going to be teams targeting our left hand side defensively.
I think Arsenal will target the right hand side again, not because Bradley's there, but because typically Salah stays a bit higher. And I think the point that you made where Gyökeres likes to drift to the left, I think he will start with Martinelli, because what Martinelli did really well last season was he played with Trossard and Havertz. I remember they made the sub. Martinelli would play central, then he'd go left, and then he'll come central and he'd go left. And I feel like that worked and ended up getting a goal for him. And I almost see Arteta either starting that way, or if he does take the risk and start with Eze, knowing that
I wouldn't be shocked though if we tried to make Gravenberch do. You remember that role we had him in last year where he does that centre back at points? I wouldn't be shocked if Bradley goes on. We sort of tell Gravenberch, look, there's going to be points in this game where you're going to have to hold, and we're going to have to form this back three, and you're going to have to be ready, because we can't sacrifice what Bradley gives us. I think that, especially against Newcastle, I know it. When he was on the pitch, it was like 1-1 in terms of the scoreline when he was on the pitch. But I thought we looked a lot better when Bradley came on in terms of going forwards, because he makes the right runs. I think that he's such a threat going forwards, Bradley, and he's so technically sound that we can't sacrifice that for a little bit of defensive stability. Maybe if we were going away from home, I'd be looking at, Joe Gomez has got a bit more fitness to him now. Maybe we can do him at right back and so that gives whoever's left back all the license to go on, because you got 3 centre backs there. But at Anfield, I think we need to try and put the game onto Arsenal and try and make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. I think you need Bradley to do that.
Do Liverpool have to win? That's a key question.
Because we're at home, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're at home. You want to get the home. You want to win your home games, don't you? You don't want to drop points at home, even if it's early or not. I think Arsenal will be happy with the draw, but I think because then they know, right, we'll play them at our ground then.
I actually think Arsenal have to win.
Can I ask you? Psychologically, yeah. Go on, Charles. Go on.
Before you answer, can I just touch on the defense? Other thing I wanted, just real quick. I think the other reason last season with our defense, I think the guys, you were celebrating tackles and blocks. It felt like they changed their mindset in terms of we know we're an attacking team, but even the small things, the little tackle, the little block, the little interceptions, they were like high-fiving each other, like, yeah, well done. I feel like that's why we were strong defensively. Where this season's like, it's gone through. No, it doesn't feel like that. There's that hunger or urge again about, right, make that tackle, get that block in, and then we celebrate it to kind of go, that was a good thing. Where you watch the other teams when they with their defense, there's that little high five, like, oh, well done with that block, well done with that. With us, it's more like, okay, no worries, mate, well done, unlucky. That's what I wanted to just quickly add.
Just quickly touching on the Salah thing. Do you think he misses Trent? Because obviously I know it's a sore subject, whatever, but they had such a great relationship. Trent would find him in positions where no right back could. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like Salah is missing Trent's through balls and the relationship he had. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that? Obviously, I know it's only been 2 games.
It's an element of it. It's an element. Yeah. Any player who had the chemistry with him was going to miss it. But I do think that the bigger problem is the fact that we've changed so many players in that team who were Salah first type players. So Szoboszlai in the 10, his job was pick up the ball, run 10 yards. Is Salah free? Yes. Pass to him. No. Run a bit more until he's free and then pass to him. Right. Gravenberch last year was, because I'd done something on this on my channel, Gravenberch was actually quite close to Salah in a lot of games in terms of average position. And that was one of his most used passes, just a quick little one to Salah when he dropped a bit deeper. Now, Wirtz wants to go over to the left, so that's one straight gone. Gravenberch has barely played so far, so when it's been Curtis Jones wants to drop deep, which means he doesn't have the passing range to play the passes. We've basically we've treated Salah like we're socially distancing from him. No one wants to be near him because everyone wants to be to the left, which is why I think Bradley, because Bradley makes the right runs and is willing to pass to him, that's an important one to get back. I think that we need to wait for Wirtz to adapt. I think Wirtz is someone who can eventually learn to just float in between both ways. That'll be a big help to get him back. But Trent was also someone who'd done a lot of these long balls that we needed. The problem is, if I look at the team now, we've got one guy who plays the switch of play. We've got one guy who plays the switch of play. That's it.
And Szoboszlai, to be fair, Szoboszlai will try it, but they're not as expansive. Szoboszlai's got it probably from about 30 to 40 yards, where Wirtz can ping them 60. Do you know what I mean? So it is quite.
Szoboszlai hit a few in the pre-season as well. He was spraying some parts.
That's right, but I think he can control them to about 40.
Sobo wants to do them right to left, though. Szoboszlai wants to be on the right and hitting them to the left, not on the left and hitting them to the right. Van Dijk's the only one comfortable playing them long balls that Salah thrives off.
Yeah, because that was kind of my point, because I felt like when Salah wasn't even in the game, it's like, all right, cool, one top over the ball, Trent will find me and I can go. Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like now you're missing that element, but you do make a good point and reason why Salah hasn't been involved as much.
Also, as well, I think with him as well, even though I think Tom's right in terms of the players are not around him, himself as well has to go, do you know, I need to get involved. Similar to Florian Wirtz, he has to go, do you know what, I'm taking the leadership here. I'm not getting enough of the ball. You guys are playing it. Look, give me it. Or just float Gakpo, switch over to the other. Whatever it may be to get himself in the game, because he's a difference maker. At the moment, it's kind of, he's taken slight backseat, not in a negative way as such, but it's, you can see that, I need you in the game now. And I know we're left-sided heavy more than what we're right, like what we were. But you have to find a way yourself to get yourself in the game and take that leadership, and say, look, that ball needs to come out to me a bit more, even if it's just dropping deep, playing a couple of 1-2s, just to get a feel of the game. Because sometimes it goes out to him and he's cold, he just dribbles into someone, loses the ball, and then we're transitioning backwards because he hasn't had a touch for a while. Sometimes just come short, play a little couple of 1-2s just to get a feel, get warm, and then at least then they go, okay, Mo is here. And then they're a bit more wary of him now because now he's dropping in, then he's spinning and going behind, then he might pop up in the middle. Just little things, switch it up a little bit because the team is obviously evolving. And they're doing their own thing. They want to.
He's also not the target man anymore as well.
True.
Last year, when we had to play it long, it was play it long to Salah and he'll back up his fullback and win it. Now, especially against Newcastle, because we played Diaz on the left last season, Diaz couldn't do that. Gakpo was very good against Newcastle being a target man.
Sick. Gakpo's underrated.
Alisson was getting the ball, booting it 60 yards, and Gakpo was running everything against Trippier. And then that meant that Ekitike and Wirtz and Jones and Kerkes occasionally, they were all around him because that was where the ball was going. So again, it was like we were socially distancing away from Salah, and we don't switch the play to get to him. So all the attacks start on the left and finish on the left, which means he's not getting the ball. When we attack down the right, which we very rarely did, but the goal was an attack down the right, and what he do? He has one moment and he pops up. That's what he can do. I just think we need to try and bring him back into the games a little bit more, because I think at the minute we're ostracizing him.
All right, lads, let's get some score predictions in now because it's that time. We are about to wrap up the show. And after your score predictions, please do shout out your channels as well. Let people know where they can find some of your content, and we'll let the good people get on with their weekend. So thank you, everybody in the chat as well. Thank you for staying patient. Thank you for keeping it respectful. Can't account for some idiots that try and ruin things. But as I say, big up the panel for joining us tonight as well. I appreciate it. Connor, let people know the score prediction for the game and where people can find some of your content over this weekend.
4-2 Arsenal.
How are you saying that while I got a drink in my mouth, bro? Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you not? What are you doing?
My content, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, where you will also get some of these ridiculously hyperactive, thinking everything's all gravy videos. And then sometimes you get some real ones where I'm like, man, this is bad. But I'm a call 4-2 Arsenal, because if somehow it ends it, I'm a damn genius and I'm sticking with it. CDL Arsenal across all platforms.
Going to your gal route, just making loads of ridiculous predictions, and then when one comes in, you go, "See, I was right."
Could have cashed it. Yeah. Ends, let people know why I go on.
Look, I'm gonna go with a respectable 2-1. I think it'll be a tough game for both teams. Defensively,
Harry agrees.
Their pieces, they're there. But I think Liverpool's attack, I think we're good. We're more than good in moments. Scored four already in 3, so let's go have it, man. So 2-1, I think, to the Reds for me. And in football events, man, across YouTube and all the other social media platforms as well, man, where we have fun, but we also try and dissect the game in the way we see fit. We'll do a bit of call-ins and we'll do match reactions and all those stuff as well. So yeah, after the game, guys want to come in, let us know, man. We'll be there for the call-in as well for the fans, either Arsenal or Liverpool. So it should be interesting this week.
Love for that. Man like Shell's making his debut on the cartel. Big up, bro. Bless. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your time as always, man. Let people know what you've got going on as well and where they can watch the downfall of Manchester United season. What season are we in now? Season what? 10,
hey,
11?
love me. Hey, no, listen though, thank you for having me first of all, man. Shout out everyone, shout out the panel. Lovely to talk to you and meet all you guys. Big up Red Cartel. You can find me on match day shows. My latest video is a rant on Man United against Grimsby. It's doing pretty well.
Oh, we're eating good. Good.
If you want to do that, we're down bad this season, so you're probably going to get me more ranting. I'm quite positive at times, but you got to give me something to be positive about. But yeah, follow me up. I got some IRL content coming as well. I play football too myself. So you'll be seeing some of that, man. So yeah, big up. Thank you again, and shout out to everyone, and make sure you smash the likes, man.
Blessings, bro. Blessings. I appreciate it. Shane, let people know, Shane Gunnar, what time it is, and where people can get some of your content over the weekend.
Yeah, big up. Thanks
and your score prediction as well. Yeah, give us a score prediction.
Yeah,
don't forget.
Yeah, big up to the panel, big up to the chat. Yeah, obviously, apart from the mutant that was in, but no, yeah, Shane Gunnar. I'll be every morning at 10:30 the full Irish breakfast. I'll be doing tomorrow night. I'll be covering the Pisa Roma game, Serie A. I'm doing a bit of Serie A this season, trying to take my mind off Arsenal. And score prediction, though, I do have us 2-2. I have a 2-2, which I wouldn't have had a few weeks ago. So maybe. Sorry?
Did you say 4-2 to us as well?
No, 2-2. 2-2.
Desmond, bro. Desmond, man. Come on.
2-2. Yeah, no, I see it actually being a good game. I'm very interested just to see if he goes with, an Eze and stuff like that. And if then I'll sort of think, right, maybe he is, he knows he's living on borrowed time, because for the first time in his whole career at Arsenal and press conferences, he's saying things like, we have to win, and we have to win the big one, and we have to win this match. Normally he word salads his way around it and doesn't actually say it. So I'm pretty sure someone upstairs has said it's this season or bust for you, mate. So maybe that will force him into doing what we can all see. And if he does, and we get a 2-2 draw, if we play well and get a 2-2 draw, I'll have a bit more confidence. If we go there and draw 0-0 and don't play well, I'll be still quite worried. But I have it at 2-2. 2-2 would be my final prediction. And yeah, Shane Gunner's the channel. Come over and make sure you slap the likes on this stream as well, and subscribe to everybody on the panel.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time, Shane. Really do. Tom Little, let people know what time it is, where people can catch some of your content as well, please. And give us a score prediction, lad.
Tom Little with the one on YouTube and Twitter and all that. I would say you can watch some content, but I don't know when I do content. So who knows? And score prediction, I'm living off. I have always on this platform lived off one prediction I made back in 2023 when I predicted Liverpool would beat United 7-0, and we done it. So we go for stuff like that. I'm gonna go 6-1.
Hey, so
I thought I was pushing the boat out.
Yes, look. If it's 6-1, you don't want to see me on the watch along come Sunday. If it's 6-1, because trust me, I'm crashing. I'm naming you all by name. I'm out on you all you Arsenal fans are getting it if it's 6-1.
Tom, can I press you for some goal scorers in that 6-1 as well? If you get it right, it will be mental.
I'll go Ekatike 1, Salah 2, Wirtz 1. Who else have we got? Bradley will get 1, and we'll score the corner off Canary.
Oh my God!
Someone
who's got the Arsenal goal?
I'm putting it in a bet builder.
The Arsenal goal. For storyline purposes, Zubimendi will get a consolation.
Oh, I would have said Gabriel from a corner. That would have been my one. I feel like he's a safe bet. But last by no means least, man like Teza, big up, bless up, bro. Thank you very much for joining us this evening as well.
No worries, man.
I know you're down bad, but you're pumping out some good content. I know you've been writing some good articles, so let people know what your score prediction is going to be for the big game, and then where they can find your content.
So Tezki on all the channels. I'm Medium for the articles. I'm gonna another 2 coming up in the next couple of days. I'm trying to keep them non-United related because it's just too much. But I think it'd be 2-2. I think Arsenal score from a set piece. I think Liverpool push on, take the lead, and then Arsenal score with the space left in behind. So yeah, I'm going 2-2 draw.
Okay, right. Well, my prediction as well, just so you can't say I bottled it. I'm gonna say 3-1 Liverpool, 3-1 to the Liverpool, man. I can't at this moment in time. Every game I've had us concede a goal, and I haven't been wrong yet. So I'm gonna keep saying that we're not gonna.
But why don't you predict us to not concede the goal? Maybe you'll be right on that one.
Hey, that's not bad logic to go with, to be fair. But I can't see it. I think that I'll save them for after the international break. But I can't see Liverpool scoring a flood of goals. I'm not bold enough to say goal scorers, but I'm going to go for the 3-1. And you can catch me on the Red Men's main channel, Red Men #1. And I'll be there doing the watch along for that on Sunday. So yeah, make sure you do bring some popcorn because it's going to be cinema, baby. It is going to be cinema. But that's us. I know we ran over a little bit. Usually only lock in for an hour, but obviously there's a big game. There was plenty to unpack, and obviously we had to spend some time talking all things Manchester United as well. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for locking in. Big up the chat. Big up the panel. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend. We've been the Red Cartel. We will be back next week. Over and out.
Peace.